Hi. I'm so happy to be here today. My name is Betty, and I want to welcome you to this short live. I am Betty. For those who don't know me, I am Betty. I've been here live before, but today I wanted to come here and just have a different topic to discuss with you. So, what I do is I help healthcare business operations in business operations, and also as I help these healthcare people, sometimes people come with so many different kinds of questions, and I was just thinking to myself, maybe I could answer some of those questions today. And part of the questions that I get asked is how I started a business in healthcare, particularly. Okay. So currently, what I do, I provide home care services for seniors within the DFW area, that's in the Texas area. And I also do consulting for operations and care management for healthcare businesses and specifically for home visiting providers. So if you have any questions, any need for any like if you have any questions, something that rises up from your operations, your day-to-day needs, and if you need support too, you are welcome to, just call me and ask me, and let's see how it goes from there. So, a little bit about myself. I did start in healthcare almost 17 years ago, and I loved it. My initiation to healthcare started from the CNA, which I did just, I think, for a year or two, which was good. I mean, I enjoyed working direct contact with the clients. I really loved it. And I started progressing on to, from the healthcare part of it, I started progressing on to the hospital. While I was in the hospital, I discovered that there's so many uh, other very important segments in healthcare. So I noticed that most people were going through the days, just what they were doing is going through the days thinking only of the clinical aspect of healthcare. But people forget that in healthcare, there's so many branches. And for these clinical teams to work, the branches that support them have to come together and, have one cohesive, big dome of things going on. So I had a background in the past for telecommunications and also as an executive PA to one of the biggest industries. And I said I was going to use that to see how I can get into healthcare. So my journey, how I started was to do job shadowing, just do a job shadow. And because of the kind of background that I came from, I'm a little bit easy to talk to and to navigate my ways around, when talking to people. So I wrote down a list of, because I was working in the hospital at that time, I was working at Methodist in Methodist Charlton on 67. So when I was working there, I wrote a list of things that I came across job wise. So, like from physicians to PAs to nurses to therapists like OTPT, respiratory therapists, I wrote all this down. Initially, how I started was telling myself that let me do a job shadow. And then when I do a job shadow, I will know where I fit in. Okay. I will know where I fit in all this. I will know what, what best suits me. So I really have when I was going through, I was like, I really dropped on the word go. And that was my first person to say yes to doing like a shadow, a job shadow with. And that was the respiratory therapist. That one, 5 minutes into it, I knew that's not for me. Okay. I knew that I'm not going anywhere near respiratory therapist. First of all, I went and during the time that I was shadowing, I had to be at the back. I wasn't going to follow them so closely, but I was just going to be somewhere a little bit far because I don't want to interfere with what they're doing. And I was not, I had been told that if we have to be doing something, you just stay away, even if I was in uniform, but just stay away because I was not part of the active team. So I was okay. This particular day, I've never forgotten in my head. So there was this person that was coding, and the way sometimes they have to do like so much, and I was like, I know that's not for me, because I felt like I was going to cry with this person. Then I had uh, a shadow with OT, and I was like, mm-mm, that's not for me. And then I had a shadow with a doctor, and I was like, first of all, this is nice, but it's really not me. I mean, this would be nice. I'm more of the talking. I want to talk to you. I want to dig deep into what's going inside you. I want some paperwork that comes along and everything. So with the nursing, the paperwork was just not the kind of paperwork. But the funny thing is that I had a meeting with one of the healthcare administrators that was working there. And in that meeting that I had, it was something, the way in an organization they will call people, and then they say whoever wants to volunteer to be in a committee. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll be in the committee. And it was also on a day that I wasn't working. So I was like, yeah, I'll be in that committee. So in that committee, I met a healthcare administrator. Now, what happened with this healthcare administrator? I started watching him. It was a guy, I remember. And I was like, oh, so you're doing this, making sure that this is done, making sure that this is done. And I was like, oh, this is giving me a thrill. This is really nice. I like it. And then I went and shadowed a social worker and a psychologist. The psychologist was very nice. I have never forgotten that psychologist. He's now deceased, but I still remember him. And the way they did things, I was like, yes, this is my kind of thing, and my kind of thing, the things that I like, talking to people. But I really enjoyed what the healthcare administrator was doing. I was actually finding a thrill, the way they were coordinating things, making sure this is done. And then I will never forget there's one thing he said, because he introduced me to someone else as he was going on PTO. So he introduced me to someone else, and he said, healthcare administrators normally carry a lot. They carry the back end of operations, and that helps also the drive for the people who are in the front. And they make decisions that might not be very good for the people in the front end, but for the business part of it is really good. And then then I remember him saying, you have to be really sure that this is what you want to get into, because this is not about being a PA, this is not about being a secretary, this is bigger than what you see. So I said, okay. Then I had another shadow that I did with the occupational therapy. Now, I always tell myself, if I went back to school, there are two courses I would consider. I would consider psychology or occupational therapy. And occupational therapy was because part of the things that the therapist was teaching the patient are things that I do every time, those like this one she did, like transferring to the bench, and I was like, but I do that, and I'm being paid this much to do it, and you're being paid 10 times to just show them how to do what I do. So that for me, that was very encouraging. So I would encourage you that the first thing you do, especially, I don't know so much about other businesses and how people make up their minds of what they're going to do. But for me, how I got into healthcare business was because I had a foundation where I knew what was not for me and what was for me. Another thing I did before because I had, along the years, I had accumulated different kinds of experiences. So cutting the short story, the story, just cutting this story. Another thing I did was take a paper and do a brain dump. Now, that is what I call it. I love calling it a brain dump. So, a brain dump to me is where I sit down and I think about my career only. Okay. So, in my career, from the time I can remember, what are the things that I have done? So, I wrote everything down, anything I wrote. If I ever worked as a receptionist, because my first job was in 1999 when I was a receptionist, that was my first formal job where I could receive a check. Before that, I was working for my parents. So, for my first job was in 1999, and I was a secretary at that time. So, I decided to write down everything, all my experiences of what I have done. And as I moved along, like, in 1999, yes, I know someone will ask me, are you sure it was 1999? Yes, it was 1999 because I graduated from Queensway College in 1998, December. And in 1999, I graduated, went for and then when January came in, I started my first job in 1999 in an audit firm on University Way, from those who are from the part of the world that I come from. So I started writing down everything that I have learned through that process. Then I took another paper and I wrote everything that I have struggled with in these tasks that I have learned. And then I wrote down what inspires me to stay in healthcare and do some of these things that I have done. So, one of the things that I wrote in my struggles was burnout. I was feeling so burnt out, especially after 10 years into healthcare. I was feeling so burnt out, and I needed something else. I needed something that I could do that was just not this day to day. Because within those 10 years, I had worked as a patient care tech in the hospitals, in the home care, in the home health. I'd worked for the largest insurance company in the United States. I still am contracted by them partially. And I had also worked with, apart from insurance companies, I had worked with an insurance broker, and so I had all this experience in me. And then I was feeling burnt out, and really, I was not being paid for the knowledge that I had acquired. I was not being paid for the skills that I had acquired. Okay. So what happens is once I was done with that list and everything, then I had to look at now my personal life and see in my skills what is it that can accommodate the new things that I'm discovering about myself. So I wrote down because I had just had a baby, and and I decided it was also the same time I was deciding now to go back to school and get the paper part of the whole deal. And then by this time, 12 years into, no, I think it was about 11 years into healthcare, I had pretty much made up my mind what I wanted to do, and that was healthcare administration, because I really remember what it gave me a thrill. Now, we and I say to myself, this is what I really want, but I'll just go along and do it. But when it comes to the point when God changes the route, I am ready to take that new route that God brings to me. And I feel that season is coming in my life. And and for now that I'm in this season of, for healthcare business, I thank God for it. But when God, I am always telling business owners that when God changes the route of something that you're doing, always be okay to listen and okay to take it, because when He changes something for you, it's for your good. Okay, it's for your good. So the other thing, so what I did, I went back to school, completed my degree, and just used that degree. And when I used that degree to really, really hone the skills that I need, and I was very lucky that I got, a student contract at Spalding Rehabilitation in Massachusetts, and I was able to do some of the work that I do now, that I was able to do for them which was really, really fun. And then there was also another organization that the school helped me with. So I did like practical work with them. And through this practical work, that gave birth to what I do now. So my name is Homecare. I do provide home care services, but my main thing is I'm an OBM, that is an online business manager. And what I do is provide online business management for healthcare providers and practitioners. And when you work with me, you are sure to shred off your schedule 20 hours plus in a month. 20 hours plus in a month, where you have 20 hours to do something for yourself, you have 20 hours to get more clients, you have 20 more hours to find other clients for yourself. So if you feel that you need those extra 20 hours and you need to offload your daily operations, you are welcome to send me a message and I will get with you. And also, you know, one thing I want to encourage you is that do not fear. One of the things that I had problems with was fearing, like, what will people say? What do I do? But remember, what people say is not really what's going to build you, because even those people that are close to you, they will not build you. So the best thing to do is to always pray every day and ask God for help, ask God for guidance, ask God for ideas. And God is faithful to give them to you. He might drop that in your spirit, or He might use someone else to come and give you that idea of what business to start. Also, you also have to have a mindset shift. You want to have a shift where you're shifting from employee to a business owner, because employee, you're expecting the employer to do everything for you. At least you're sure you're getting that paycheck, every 2 weeks. From a business mindset, you're the one who is driving that. You're the one who is looking for that check. You're the one who is looking for those clients. You're the one who is looking for the business to grow. So those are things you will need to consider when you're doing that. Okay. Then also, you cannot work by yourself. You need someone to work with you, work in you too, because it calls for a lot of discipline to be a business owner. The other thing, you also want to find someone in the same industry as you who is going to help you along the way, because there are those people who have gone ahead of you. They know how the work is done. And it's always nice, no matter how much you know or how much you think you know, find a business owner who knows more than you. So for me, I have someone that I talk to, and we might not talk every day, but this person is always 5 steps ahead of me, and sometimes even 10 steps ahead of me. And when I talk to them, I feel comfortable. Sometimes I'll do exactly what they suggest, and sometimes I will tweak it a little bit. It's the same thing, but I'll just tweak it a little bit to give the spirit, my spirit, into that idea. Then the other thing is just engaging yourself in training. Now, because you know how to do things, that doesn't mean that you know how to do everything. The world right now is changing, and also healthcare is going into AI. So you need to always try and move with the current, move with the with the things. So with the things that are changing, because 5 years from now, what we used to know in 2020 about healthcare will be something else. It will have morphed to something new. Okay, so that's probably all that I have for today. I know I've been here for a few minutes, but I want to tell you one thing. Don't be discouraged. The business God has called you to start, start it. If you know God has called you to start something, go ahead and start it. Here is something I would like you to do. Drop a comment and say and tell me if you've learned something new. Also, you are welcome to, apart from dropping a comment, if you need any assistance with your healthcare business, For example, if you need help with your operations, your day-to-day operations, something that you are working on that is giving you issues and you just need someone to help you, I am available to help you. That's with the healthcare operations, and anything healthcare that is operations that is not clinical, I will help you. If you need clinical support, I do have someone I can be able to send them to you. Also, if if you need help with how to start a business in healthcare, you're welcome to find me too. If you look at my description, you will find the links to the respective things that you want, and I'm also going to drop in a bonus for you. So if you watch it until the end, then you will know that there's a bonus. And then when you know there's a bonus, then you will click the link in the comments and find the bonus there. And I hope to see you again next time. Thank you so much and have a beautiful day. Thank you.